If you own a business, I implore you to stop hiring B players. What do I mean by a B player? A B player is someone who you've settled for, who is suboptimal for the role, most likely in their attitude and behavior, not necessarily skill. Someone that will just satisfy the role today, but you know they're going to cause problems for you in the future. We only want to populate our business with A players. And that needs a definition as well. An A player, simply put, is the best quality candidate that is willing to accept your offer. This means that a business like Bain and Company or Goldman Sachs or Apple or Facebook or Google, they are hiring A players that are willing to take the high money and benefits that they're going to get. But McDonald's can get A players too. They happen to be 15-year-olds that there's probably their first job. They're taking low salary, but they only want to take the best, the top 10% of candidates willing to accept the offer. If you can't find them, then the offer's wrong in terms of what you're offering the job. But in this video today, I want to talk to you about some tactics and some tips that can help you identify the A players before you make the offer, and more importantly, identify the B and C players before you make them an offer and get them into your business, only to subsequently have to fire them further down the track. And so, look, there's two overarching guides here. Please stop recruiting or hiring for experience. Okay, experience is mostly worthless. And in fact, the stats back this up. There was a study that looked at 5,000 job seekers who accepted a job and were subsequently removed from the role in the first year after accepting the role. Let's put it bluntly, they were fired. And what they found were 88% of those candidates who were fired for not being good enough for the role all had the right experience for the role. So what this means is that experience rarely means that they're suitable for you and your business and that role. I guess the silliness to think that some other business has trained them properly. Have you met other business owners? Have you met managers in corporate and all that kind of stuff? They ain't that good. Okay, so let's not assume that someone's doing a good job molding these people with this so-called experience. We need to do a bit more heavy lifting here. We need to do a bit more of the hard work. And what I mean by the hard work is actually thinking ahead of time. What are the traits, skills, and attitudes that I want in the ideal candidate? Traits are things that are really hard to mold. So someone who loves attention to detail, someone who's an excellent communicator in front of groups, someone who's resilient with being told no. Those are traits that we might need for a particular role. Like that last one I mentioned, someone who's quite resilient when they're told no, that's the kind of person that we want for sales. Someone who's amazing with attention to detail, misses nothing, hates when loose ends are around. Yeah, we want them in our admin department. So we're getting clear on those traits. Skills is actually testable. Testable through the hiring process, testable through the recruitment process. And it's skill. Can they do this? Can they perform it in the way that they said? Not a proxy as in, you worked in sales in IT for 6 years, you must be able to sell our IT stuff. Not necessarily true. We actually want to see that they can apply the skills that lead to being able to sell it. And the last one is attitude. Okay? Attitude is really hard to shape. Skills we can actually upgrade. Right? Sometimes we want them, sometimes we don't need them because we can train them. But traits and attitude, very hard to change over time. So we want to get these right. And so when I say attitude, this is their behavior, this is their outlook, this is their vibe, this is how we experience them as a human. And so what we do is we set up our recruitment process to weed out people that don't match our attitude. We force them to do things that they might necessarily not want to do. So in my recruitment process, I never take emailed applications. They must call. I run a group interview and don't tell anyone it's a group interview. Guess what happens at that group interview? People who are highly qualified with lots of experience for the role, what actually happens is, to a few of them, is they'll turn up and they'll get the shits they'll be super annoyed that I have put them in this environment and not done a one-on-one interview. Well, guess what? You are going to have some surprises in my business and in this role. And if this is how you react, thanks for letting me know and thanks for coming. So attitude trumps everything. And so the last thing to do here is actually build a scorecard. And you're going to say, what are the absolute must-haves around traits, skills, and attitude, and what are the nice-to-haves? You're going to clearly define them, put them on one page, and then as you're running your recruitment process, score each candidate. Did you get evidence that they have the things that you must have, and have they got sufficient of the things that are nice to have? And only then can you confidently make an offer and bring an A player into your business. So give that a go. Stop populating your business with losers. Hire only A players. And this is the channel. Come and see me if you want to build a business that gives you freedom through delegating to others. See you next time.